Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Gulfstream Park Weekly. Track announcer Pete Aelia, joined by our radiant Acacia Courtney, getting ready to take you back to what was a very memorable weekend, a Summit of Speed weekend 2017, not one that we'll soon forget. A lot of great racing performances and a lot of great racing action. It
certainly was. Record handle as well here for Summit of Speed Day on July 1st. As you said, lots of great racing, including 2 Breeders' Cup winning your in races, so definitely a big, exciting day right here at Gulfstream Park. There were 14 races this past Saturday.
There certainly were, and there were absolutely, I think 12 of the 14 had some sort of close photo finish. It's not, maybe not for win, but for the runner-up performances. But one race that needed no photo finish and a horse who made an emphatic stamp on the Breeders' Cup sprint roll coming up at Del Mar was a horse by the name of Imperial Hint. Came into the Smile Sprint under jockey Javier Castellano. We're getting ready to show it to you now. Ronnie talked to jockey Luis Carvajal before the race, and he was confident, but jockey Javier Castellano, who rode Imperial Hint, thought he could sit behind horses. I know a couple of us thought he was crazy. He sure was right.
He was right, absolutely, and you can see on the lead is the number 3, Awesome Banner, who did hold on to be second in this race, but Imperial Hint had lots of horse. He was the number 2 that day. You can see Javier Castellano actually does have a pretty tight hold on him, but sat in the perfect spot there. Now, if you remember, he did win the Grade 3 General George at Laurel prior to shipping in. Unfortunately, pneumonia and illness kept him from shipping over to Dubai to try the Golden Shaheen. Instead, he came here, and you can see he's just raring to go, and he ends up pulling away from the rest of the field for a very impressive win in the Smile.
I had a couple of questions going out of this race. Number one, will jockey Javier Castellano retain the call with so many great opportunities to ride great sprinters all across North America? Will he be the guy that's sitting atop Imperial Hint when they get to Del Mar? That's question one. And question two, will he actually try that tactic of sitting him off the pace and seeing if he can kick on? And then I guess the third question is, if he does try that tactic, how will Imperial Hint take to that against much better sprinters that he'll see at Del Mar?
And he's really shown his versatility now. He's got his 2nd graded stakes win in a row, as I mentioned, facing foes in the General George prior to that. This is his 4th win in a row, but as you said, this will be his toughest try yet if he does go to the Breeders' Cup Sprint, and a trainer saying maybe Saratoga after that. They're not really sure, Saratoga leading up to the Breeders' Cup, not really sure of their plans leading up to the fall, but I think off of that race and off of the layoff, off of the illness, he did show another dimension, and that's got to be encouraging.
Well, Luis Carvajal is such a Cinderella story. He doesn't have many horses, but he certainly takes good shots at the target when he gets them, and Imperial Hint has been a horse that really has taken him all across the world, all the way to Dubai, even though that didn't work out for him. Speaking about all across the world, we'll come all the way back and get one for the home team. The Princess Rooney, also the co-feature on the Summit of Speed program, and Curlin's approval left no doubt as to who one of the top filly and mare sprinters is as she returns to her winning ways in an emphatic fashion under jockey Louise Size.
She did return to her winning ways. As you said, she was pretty disappointing in the inside information and even trying the matron. She had really proved herself winning at a sprint distance in the Hurricane Birdie back here at Gulfstream in the winter. Then she stretched out and won the Grade 3 Royal Delta, but she's the number 7. A little bit of drifting there. Kinsley Kisses set the pace, was the number 11. She started to fade, and it looked like Curlin's approval inherited the lead, but I love how she continued to extend her lead, and as you said, it was pretty close for the Miners.
Well, one of the things we did talk about on camera, Jason Blewett talked about, Lightstream just didn't look comfortable. That was the horse on the inside for Brian Lynch, who ended up getting 3rd. I think another safe conclusion you can draw out of the Princess Rooney is that Dearest wants no part of 7 furlongs, and maybe Distinta now rises to the top of the ladder in terms of local sprinters that aren't on the national level, as she ran very well under Edgard's eyes.
She did. She closed really strongly to be 2nd in there. That's actually the 5th victory for trainer Marty Wolfson in the Princess Rooney, and owner Happy Alter saying the plan is to go right on to the Breeders' Cup for her.
Why not? She's Happy Alter homebred, so actually I think he raced her mother as well. So all in the family as Bridlewood Farm gets on the bandwagon. Curlin's approval, a very impressive winner of the Princess Rooney. We put the Florida breds in the spotlight here later on in the season, but they took the spotlight away from some of the bigger horses in the Carryback here this year. There was 3 Florida breds going into the race. 2 of those 3 dominated the performances. Mocash proved proves how talented he is as he takes on 3 Rules, and 3 Rules is just a nice racehorse. That was something we knew ahead of time. For me, the conclusion you draw out of this race, the Carryback, is that Mo Cash is the real deal.
Yes, he really is. And I'll be honest, I had my questions about Mo Cash for sure. And you can see the number 4 is Mo Cash. He does end up getting to the lead. 3 Rules is the 3 that day. He sits off the pace. He does have quite a bit of natural speed. The Connections tried stretching him out. They tried Luis Saez in the saddle, trying to get him from the Florida Derby, get him onto the Kentucky Derby trail. Turned out he did not want any part of the distance. He comes off of a kind of troubled trip in the Chick Lang on Pimlico Day. Cornelio back aboard for his race here. Mo Cash on the lead, though.
Right here is where Cornelio Velasquez is going to win the race, as he gets him into the 2-path, but not only gets him there, secures that spot when he got inside of Sweet on the Ladies. Right here, 3 Rules will have every opportunity to catch Mo Cash, and I was actually thinking 3 Rules would go right after Mo Cash, but Mo Cash again proves he is a real deal racehorse. As 3 Rules drifts a bit off the corner, Mo Cash cuts the corner, and these two just put on a show from the 3/16 to the wire.
He does. This was a really thrilling finish, because I wasn't sure watching this if 3 Rules was going to get there, if he was going to get by him. Mo Cash really holding on the inside. As you mentioned, 3 Rules drifted, so he did lose a little bit of ground coming around the far turn, and he just got there to get the win. But I think a strong performance, and nice to see 3 Rules finally get that graded stakes win.
One thing I would like to know, of course, we can sit back and play Monday morning quarterback. Had Alvarado brought Mo Cash to the outside and get to where 3 Rules was, would Mo Cash have dug in and maybe made that even closer? Not that it wasn't close already, but Mo Cash 3 or 4 paths away from 3 Rules. Not sure if that had any impact on the outcome.
He certainly, as you said earlier, I like that. He's proved himself to be the real deal. And, of course, 3 Rules coming off of facing the tougher company, if you will. But I think that stretch run really does prove that both of them are legitimate.
Well, let's take a look now at the Aelia. I've watched this race back about 20 times, and I still can't figure out who's the lady got through on the fence. So many chances inside the final furlong. There was just, you have to take away from this, though, that our Angel Caitlin is a game filly. She takes all the heat. She's supposed to be dead beat right here, as Fergalicious really took it to her. Firefoot down the outside, broke a step slow. But how does Saez get through on Who's the Lady? I haven't figured it out yet.
I have no idea. This was probably, you're talking about those photo finishes. This had to be the most thrilling one of the day. The 5 on the inside is Who's the Lady, who somehow ends up getting there. You have Lyrica on the outside. You have our Angel Caitlin, the 7, getting pressure the entire way and just digging in. From any way that you watch that race, you could kind of make an argument from anybody coming down to the wire.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I wonder how much the speed was coming back to the closers as opposed to the closers really picking up their feet. I thought the racetrack was pretty fair, but by summative speed standards, it was definitely closer friendly, as summative speed has been notorious for a very fast surface. I didn't see that as the case. Who's the Lady proved that. Lyrica from far back, they both ran really well. I'll be interested to see how Firefoot does when she maybe takes a step back into reality. She was a maiden taking stakes horses in her first start against winners. She didn't run bad.
And not to mention, she did get off a little bit slowly from the gate as well, so she didn't run badly. She was pretty impressive in her maiden win, so I think that she could have a strong future as well. But I think that you really have to look at the top finishers, or the ones to really take a lot away from that race, is our Angel Caitlin and Who's the Lady.
Yeah, our Angel Caitlin just so game. I can't believe I would have made you any wager you wanted at the quarter pole that if nothing else, Fergalicious had our Angel Caitlin hooked, and she turned that filly away all the way down the stretch. And what was a very good card of racing Saturday, the Gulfstream Park Summative Speed was certainly one we won't soon forget. For now, we're going to take a brief timeout. When we come back, we'll look ahead to a great week of racing at Gulfstream Park.
Hey, South Florida, it's time to get social at sunset. This summer at Gulfstream Park, as the sun goes down, the scene heats up. Join us each week for Twilight Racing Fridays, a fusion of horse racing, food and drink specials, and live performances by local bands. Enter drawings and play horse racing bingo, your chance to win incredible prizes. Live racing begins at 2:15. Admission and parking are free. Visit GulfstreamPark.com for more details. Gulfstream Park, Twilight Racing Fridays. Get social at sunset.
And we're back now with Gulfstream Weekly. Track announcer Pete Aiello and Acacia Courtney with you. We just took a look back at the Saturday racing action. The Summit of Speed was an excellent card, but we have some excellent cards coming up. It's that time of year, Acacia. Two-year-olds start to really spring into the spotlight, but we do have an interesting maiden race for the older horses, featuring a horse who actually took on Firefoot in her debut. Talking about Rainfall, it's race number 2 on Thursday's program, start of the early pick 4.
And of course, Rainfall, the number 6 that day, it was a sealed, sloppy track. She had actually debuted on the turf, so this was her first start on the main track. But she actually broke sharply, lots of moving on early, as actually the 2 favorites were pretty far off, and Firefoot missed the start. She ended up pulling away to win, and then there was another horse in there that took a lot of money, the number 3 Saddle, a Sweat and Saddle, who was kind of shuffled back early. So Rainfall chasing after that winner. Firefoot, excuse me, went back to being that blanket finish in the Aelia.
Yeah, Firefoot pretty much ran the same race in the Aelia that she ran in that race. She broke a step slow, moved him to contention. The difference is she was tackling maidens the first time and stakes horses the second time. Rainfall, certainly the horse to beat in that race, but there is an interesting storyline that ties back to the Summit of Speed. The number 5 in the race, Curlin's Mistress, is a full sister to Curlin's Approval, who we just saw win the Princess Rooney. That's the good news. The bad news is her career debut was not very good.
No, it wasn't. But she does have some experience under her belt now, and it looks like a pretty nice field. And I do think one of the other key things is that Rainfall will get a little bit more distance in this race, trying the mile, second-time blinkers as well.
It's race 2 on the Thursday program, the start of 50-cent early pick 4. Let's move now to the last leg of that sequence in race number 5. Two-year-olds take center stage. They're in for a $50,000 price tag. We have a horse that's taking a big jump up in class off of a pretty decent debut. The question is the class hike, but there's a lot of first-time starters. So just as we see all each season here at Gulfstream Park, the 2-year-old races a lot of times have more questions than they have answers. The question is, Our Gracious Girl, she was odds on in the debut. She lost to a nice horse, though. The horse who beat her was a horse that, at least in my view, was precocious enough to get that victory.
Yes, she was. This was a first-time starter in here for Kathleen O'Connell. She debuted with maiden $25,000. She's going to step up to the $50,000 tag, as you mentioned. She's the gray on the outside in here. Happy River, the number 6 who won, actually ended up wiring the field. A little bit of drifting and, of course, some inexperience from the 2-year-old fillies, but the number 5 two-timing Girl did come back to win her next race, so it has proved to be a pretty productive race. But again, she does have to step up in class. She just held on for the second place finish there.
Yeah, she sure did. But take nothing away from the winner, Happy Runner. I think that was an aggressive placement by trainer Francisco D'Angelo in the debut. She was out of a mare who was very, very good here in South Florida for a long time. So I take nothing away from the quality of that race. You do have to wonder about the first-time starters, many in with a chance, but Kathleen O'Connell certainly does not need any introduction when it comes to winning 2-year-old races in South Florida.
Absolutely, and she is only one of 2 in there with experience. The rest are first-time starters, so sometimes that just might give them a little bit of an edge.
Absolutely. Well, that's race number 5 on the Thursday program. A couple of races to look forward to with a 1:15 starting time. We do have 10 races on the Thursday program, so the Rainbow Six will begin in race number 5. We thank you very much for joining us on this great edition of Gulfstream Park Weekly. Track announcer Pete Aiello for Acacia Courtney. Have a great afternoon.